So do you have a Ryobi polisher and it's lost all of its speeds? This is a customer of mine, Todd, and he had this polisher for just, I think he said about a year, lost all speed. So it would turn on, which actually I can show you guys it turn on. I'm gonna line up my positive and my negative here. But it has no speed, that's it. You can't adjust it with the speed adjustment. So I was doing a little bit of research, a little bit of digging around, took it apart. He had tried taking it apart and had this kind of torn. This one piece where the trigger goes, he actually had broken right there. No big deal. I've already tested. It should work because I actually thought that I had it fixed. So I put it all the way back together and found out, crap, I still don't have any speeds because I had a wire that was loose right here. So I found online this part right here. Guys a second in case you want to write that down, and I'll put a link in the description where you can find this if I remember to. A company sells basically the switch for it, which is your speed adjuster. I have not even taken this out of the package yet, but I didn't plan on making this video because I thought I'd have it fixed by now and be done. But then when I had to order this, it's like, you know what, somebody else out there is going to be having the exact same issue that this customer did. So, oops, there's some little pieces of brass here. So here is the new switch. Looks just like the old one. This is where our switch, the actual switch goes. This is your speed controller, obviously. And it does click when you're to the highest speed. If I remember right, that's the highest speed when it clicks. I guess we'll find out. But what I want to do before I go and splice these wires and all that stuff, first thing I want to do, let's make sure that this is what is bad. At first I thought it was because these tabs were bent down, because you see this one doesn't have those bent down, but that wasn't the case. I tried messing with them. So what I need to do, I need to look at this switch first, and let's see, the black wire coming from the speed control goes to the top of the switch, so that would be this wire right here. Let's go ahead and take that off. Take this off. This is the one that I thought was loose the other day, but it's not. It wasn't what the issue was. At least I don't think it was. Hope I didn't spend the money on this. I think it was like $30, but by the time you paid shipping, I think it was closer to like $38 or $39. Okay, so that's that. So basically all I have to do is put a battery on here, but what I need to do is I need to cut off these heat shrinks, which I'm going to do here. And then what I want to do is I want to give myself plenty of wire. So these are connectors that they give you to put the wires together. Man, they are tiny. I don't know how you're supposed to fit. I'm probably not going to do that. I'll probably end up maybe soldering this to hopefully make it work. But I need to, sorry about my dog in the background. She's crying, but she doesn't realize that if she's not out here with me, she has to be in her cage. So she just needs to just calm down a little bit. All right, so what I want to do, I want to feel where it's at. It's about right there, because I want to give myself as much wire as possible off of the motor. Okay, so there's the old switch. Now I broke this. I was thinking that maybe there was something bad in here, but it's not. But I knew at that point it didn't matter anyways. I broke that. The knob just comes right off of it. So I'm hoping that I can just strip. I'm hoping I can just strip that off. I'm the type that I like to leave myself enough wire in case there's a mess up. So I had to cut that pretty short, but that's because these brass pieces are actually what is inside of here. So, all right, let's strip these wires, and we're just going to do a test run before we go and do any soldering or connecting. So let's go ahead and we'll strip this. There's two. Now, they didn't really give much wire right here, but I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to mess with that. They even have heat shrinks on here. So I bought this a long time ago, by the way. If you guys ever need some heat shrinks, you can buy this. It's a nice assortment, many different sizes, but I guess I don't need it because it's actually on the switch already. Okay, so I put the alligator clip on. I'm just holding the ground. That's all I'm doing. Let's go ahead and start the lowest speed. Switch is all the way at the lowest setting. Running. Let's go ahead and go up with it. we're good to go. So now all I have to do, splice these wires in, put this thing back together, put some new grease in the head, because as you know, when I took this thing apart, there was no grease on this gear, and there was no grease on this gear, which is the ring gear. It was all on the outside and a little bit on the inside. There's nothing on the teeth. The pinion gear was completely dry also. So now the fun part is splicing it back together and getting it put back together so he has a good working machine. Now he doesn't have to worry about buying a new machine, because he was like, oh, you can just have it. He goes, I'm gonna have to buy a new one. It's out of warranty. I can't return it. You can just keep it. I was like, well, if I can fix it, do you want it back? He's like, probably not. But then I messaged him and said, hey man, this thing's only gonna cost like less than 40 bucks. You sure you don't want me to fix it? And he said, yeah, go ahead and fix it. So we're gonna fix her up for him. By the way, this is your trigger. There's a spring. So if you take yours apart, do not lose that spring. And basically, hopefully I can show you guys. I'm gonna try to look down camera here. It's gonna go up here like this. You're gonna push your spring in and down. See, and that's how it locks in. Right there. I know there's a big shadow. I don't know why there's a big shadow from that light. Right there. That's how that locks in. See that little tooth right there? See if I can get it even closer to you guys. Right there. So don't lose that spring when you take it apart. And basically this just rolls across the top of the switch. I was originally going to use these bullet connectors where one goes into the other and you can always disconnect them in the future, but they got to be able to bend. So I forgot that I bought these, which you guys have probably seen these on Facebook. I always have. They have the solder in the middle of them. They're heat shrink connectors, and then that right there is solder, the silver part. So what I did is I cut it down to basically just the solder. We'll still put the heat shrink over it. I think it's gonna be the best way that I can do it. Yeah, I'll do it really quick while and well, on these, you want to kind of heat up a little bit of one side, heat up a little bit of the other. And you just keep going back and forth until you see the solder melt. Or not melt, but turn to liquid. And I'll show you guys when I'm done. There we go. I really wish I could have kept that heat shrink on there, but it wouldn't have worked anyways. And I got this on the lowest setting. Hopefully I don't burn through my expensive mat on my toolbox. Okay. Now we have to let that sit for a minute, because if we take it off right now, it actually kind of turned gooey. I gotta let that cool down. All right, so that's what it's gonna look like. Yeah, feels good. Now I think what I need to do is go ahead and get this in place so that the wires will kind of form to it. So let's see, down. So this would be down. This is probably gonna be easier said than done here. Okay, so switches through. Now I need to get these wires to form, because this motor's got to come back quite a bit. Okay. So if I just leave it like this and let these wires kind of just conform to it because they're still warm, I think we should be good to go, I think. But the main thing right now, let's test it. Let's make sure that this is going to work. Okay, hold the machine. We are off into the races. So I'm gonna let this just sit here and let those wires cool down, and then they will be formed basically to the polisher. So let me show you what they look like. So as you see, they have to be able to bend. So I honestly don't know what happened to his. I don't know if maybe just the module, they actually call this a control module, just got hot, but he said he didn't use it a lot. So I don't know, but yeah, we should be good to go. Let's test it again. I'll put my arm on it so it doesn't go nowhere. Perfect. So while we're letting that cool down, I had made a video on how to re-grease this Ryobi polisher. And in that video, you guys may remember, I couldn't figure out how to get this piece off right here, right? It would not slide off. I couldn't figure it out. Well, lo and behold, and thank goodness that Todd let me have this, so because he's like, if you mess it up, it's broken anyways, it doesn't matter. I found that there is a screw underneath that decal, and you have to cut the decal to get the screw out, as you guys can see. And then once you do that, you can get this head slides right off nice and easy. Okay, so this thing's been apart for about 3 weeks now. So I got to remember, so the battery's going to sit in here like this. So that means that the negative needs to be on this side right there. So I don't want to put that switch in backwards because you can obviously do that. Now, the main thing is going to be figuring out how I can get this switch put in. Okay, so this is going to have to go like that, okay? So somehow, some way, I got to get that. I don't know how they do these in the factories, or how they do this in the factories. I don't think, no, it can't go like that. It has to go. Okay, so I see slots right here for the wires. Like I said, it's been apart for about 3 weeks. Okay, so that's where those wires go there. And then it looks like they go through this slot here. Let's just do this first. Let's put that on there first. It's because the people putting these together got little hands. I don't have big hands, but I don't necessarily have little hands. Okay. Now, somehow, how in the world? There's no way it can go like that. So I must have put these on upside down. That makes more sense there. Okay, so now that should go there. All right, now we're cooking with some gas here. I'm gonna have to take this switch out. Okay, voila. Now see that tab back there I was talking about earlier, because you see it through here, is not there, but when you put this together, that's going to hold it down, so it's not that big of a deal. That's just more of an alignment tab than anything else. Okay, let's put a switch back in. Let's see if I can. Okay. Spring is in. Switch is not all the way down yet. Oh yeah, it is. We're down. Okay. Now, what to do with these wires hanging there, sticking straight up? I guess we're just going to kind of tuck it. And just tuck it. Oh, there we go. Now the switch is down. Okay. So now I think I've had this part for 3 weeks. I think I should just be able to put this back on. This is nerve-wracking. If it was my machine, I wouldn't be as nervous doing it. But the cool thing about Todd, though, he's like, hey, man, it's broken anyway. So this is how we learn. Oh, my wire's holding me up here. All right, you guys, so it took some finagling to get those wires in. So now that I've got this, I put 2 screws up here. I need to put 1 in the base, which he brought me the extra screws that he had taken out already. And once this is in, we're going to test it. It was all about getting the wires figured out, how to put the wires back in. So no wires get smashed or anything like that. So now we are pretty much back together, as you guys can see. Should be able to put the battery in. And let's see, 3,000. Start at 3,000. Oh, there's 3,000. There we go. Speed controls work. All right. Now, got to repack the head and put the rest of these screws in. We're going to go ahead and put the screws in. Now I'm sitting here looking at all of my hardware, and I'm kind of trying to remember where everything went, but worst case scenario, I have one of these machines, so I can just go over and tear mine apart and figure it out. And these are T20s. Okay, so he's got one extra screw in here, but it has to be for this machine. One in every hole. I don't know. That's kind of weird. These screws right here that he gave me, or that I took out of here, they are like crooked. But they'll still work. Because you got to remember, it's only going in the plastic, so do not be He-Man when putting stuff like this in plastic, because you will strip the plastic and then you're done. There's nothing you can do to make it ever tighten down again. I without a little bit of help from good old JB Weld, but that may not even hold either. All right, so let's put some grease back in this. Go around and just make sure the grease is on all of the teeth here on the ring gear. Make sure it's around the stud. The stud is what's going to go in, the bearing's going to ride on. And then we're going to make sure we get grease on the pinion. Okay, and one of the things I was thinking about earlier, it would have been cool if I could have turned this thing around to make it so the battery is either on the side or up and down. But there's no way that they designed this that you could actually do that. We're just going to set this down. Right there, like that. Go around and start putting our bolts in. Now, I'm pretty sure these are the longer ones because I have long and short bolts left. Pretty sure these are the longer ones. Oops. These might be a different size. No, that's the right size. The way you have to do this, you kind of have to cock this plastic. I don't really remember how I did it to get it out to begin with. There we go. Just hold it up out of there, it'll be fine. Now what you want to do is get these down to their about like that right there, not real tight. Enough that you can move your plastic around. And put the next one in. You don't want to tighten anything down until they're all in. Because if you do, you'll end up not being able to line everything back up. Okay, now that they're all started, do it like an X pattern. And just tighten them down. Once again, you ain't got to go all He-Man on them. They're just very fine threads going into aluminum. So you don't want to strip them. That's why I like to use T-handles. T-handles, you can't put nearly as much force down as you can if you're using like a ratchet. Okay, now all we have left is to line up our other screw holes, which are, I think, right there. Is that right? Yeah. And then we have these little Phillips. Okay, tighten it down. Going into aluminum once again. Oh man, Todd, we're almost there. I'm going to take my wrench and put it on here. Make sure your washer is on the backing plate. Otherwise it's going to rub. And that should be it. If I did it right, this thing should run. It'd be nice and smooth. It vibrates just like mine. we go. Runs great. And that's it. If you think that your Ryobi polisher is bad because you lost all of its speeds, you can buy the module for like $30, and with shipping it's close to $40, and you get your machine running again. So not hard, you guys. It doesn't take a lot of know how to do something like this. Just takes a little bit of time to tear it apart, and just make sure you do it right and you get it put back together right, and you'll have a good working machine again. So thank you guys so much for watching this video and checking it out. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, join the Fab family. We'd love to have you. We'll see you in the next video.